everyone, welcome back to our podcast, Typical Problems. And I'm Angel here with.
Jaylene.
And Kobe.
In this podcast, we are going to tackle things about what are the consequences of not listening to your conscience.
So before we start, what is conscience anyway?
Well, according to the Oxford Dictionary, conscience is an inner feeling or voice, viewed as an acting guide to the rightness or wrongness of one's behavior. So conscience is kind of like that inner feeling in your head that tells you whether something is good or wrong, and it is up to you whether you want to follow it or not.
So it's kind of like your gut feeling that tells you that this is right and that is wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of like that intuition and like that moral compass that guides you to the rightness of that decision.
Okay, so moving on, have you guys ever had an experience where you did not follow your conscience?
Well, yeah, of course. There have been times where I haven't followed my conscience and have made decisions that are, well, questionable to say. At times there are moments in my life that I find myself ignoring my conscience and making decisions without giving a second thought to what will happen and what the consequences will be. How about you, Angel?
Honestly, I think everyone has experience where they didn't follow their conscience and had some regrets afterward. Only at the end will you know if your choice was right or wrong. And only at the end will you realize that what you thought was the right decision was actually wrong. What about you, Jaylene?
Well, personally, I don't really recall any point in my life that I did succeed in not following my conscience, but there were times that I tried to ignore it, but I would always fail. So think of it as like the thing they show at movies or the thing you read at comics. I forgot what it's called. But basically there is an angel on one side of your shoulder and a devil on the other. It's kind of like that in my situation. Cause the angel or for example, I did something that I wanted to lie about or I did not want anyone to know about. The angel would tell me that you shouldn't do that, you'll regret that and stuff like that, while the other is the devil, which is kind of like the temptation I feel to not follow my conscience. It tells me that you should do it, no one will know, and stuff like that. But somehow the angel or my conscience always wins because I tend to overthink.
I think I kind of understand where you're coming from. I guess sometimes it can actually be really challenging to resist the temptations of ignoring our conscience, especially when the decisions we need to make may not be the most easiest or the most comfortable one. I'm sure we can all relate to the concept of having an angel and devil on our shoulders. At times you can feel like they're both fighting or arguing, telling you whether to do this and to do that. One telling us to do the right thing, and while the other one tempts us to do a much easier solution or option.
That's so true, and I think we could say that one of the repercussions of consequences of not listening to your conscience is paranoia or paranoid thinking. Because I honestly think that's the reason why my conscience or angel wins every time, because it just haunts you constantly and reminds you that what you did was wrong, and at some point we'll just go with its flow and listen to our conscience.
I think I agree with the both of you. Everything you said is actually true, and I think everyone can really relate to all the things the two of you said.
Speaking of paranoia, I can somehow relate to how ignoring our conscience can lead to feelings of anxiety and fear. Like, have you ever had a situation where like you knew what the right thing to do was, but like it felt easier to like take a shortcut or make a quick decision? I mean, I know I have, but like however, I've come to realize that like ignoring our conscience leads to regrets and feelings of guilt.
Kobe is actually right. Ignoring our conscience can lead to regret and feelings of guilt, but it's very normal to make mistakes, and we're all humans that make mistakes, and in the end, we will learn from our mistakes.
I mean, yes, of course, we're all humans after all. We make mistakes sometimes, but you know that's okay because we can use this as a learning process later on in life.
Exactly, everything happens for a reason, right? And speaking of mistakes, we can also say that one of the repercussions of not listening to your conscience is regret. Because as the two of you said earlier, there can be times where we would ignore our conscience and make decisions without thinking about it first, and then that could lead to regret.
And one more example of the consequences is hurting someone, and we can connect this to the other consequence, which is regret. Without listening to our conscience, we might hurt someone accidentally and we might regret this in the future. And you know that someone might be someone special to you, and maybe not listening to your conscience can ruin your relationship with them.
Okay. In the end, I guess listening to our conscience and being mindful of the consequences of our actions is a great for maintaining a healthy relationship with those you know, care about. Whether that be your friends, your pets, your family, or that special someone.
Ooh. So, in conclusion, in the repercussions or consequences of not listening to your conscience or our paranoid thinking, this is where we constantly second guess ourselves and get filled with anxiety and worry about. And this can lead us to fear and negatively impact our way of thinking other things, included such as regrets, wrong decisions, and the possibility of hurting someone.
You know, guys, I've thought about it, but I think the game of chess actually quite resembles life in some way. Just like in life, there are many variable or pieces at play in chess, and the decisions that we make or the moves, I guess, that you play have a long-term impact on whether it could be a mistake that can have a long-term consequence. Well, for example, in chess, every move we make is important, and this will impact the rest of the game. The same is with life. Every decision we make, no matter how small it is, it can have an effect on our future. Therefore, it's very crucial to think ahead and consider the consequences of our actions. This is where conscience comes in, you know. In chess, we need to listen to your intuition and make the best moves possible. Even if you're on a losing position, similarly in life, we need to listen to our conscience because that inner voice will tell us whether something is good or wrong. You know, sometimes the right decisions may not be the easiest one, and it can be tempting to take shortcuts or a quicker way around. But these things will lead to regret and guilt. On the other hand, following our conscience can lead to a sense of peace and satisfaction, even if they aren't the most popular ones to say. So, in summary, I guess, a game of chess reflects life because every move we take has consequences to it. Similarly, in life, we need to listen to our conscience and make decisions that align with our values and what we believe in, even if they're not the most popular or the most convenient ones to say. Also, to our listeners, have you ever experienced choosing between listening to your conscience or ignoring it? Maybe perhaps you've disregarded your inner voice only to later regret your decisions and be overpowered by feelings of guilt. Well, did you experience any of the consequences discussed?
And I guess that will be all of our topic. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed and learned something. And if you have any questions, you can comment down below. Again, I'm Angel with
And Kobe?
and see you guys in the next episode. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.